Do means balance, and In, self. So like self-balancing. It's kind of the Japanese phrase that means what yoga means. There are many different practices, physical, breathing exercises, contemplation, what might be seen as meditation, combinations of those things, chanting, all different practices to bring the self to harmony. And when we think about that, one of the immediate things that we want to do is balance our energy, our self, with the activity that we're engaged in that moment. And that could be something very active, can be something mental, and so we would be shifting our energy. If we're going to go do something physical, there are Do-In practices that would bring us more into a physical state. If we're going to do something that more requires thinking, then we can bring ourselves more into a mental or intellectual state. Also, there are spiritual practices. So I started practicing Do-In. It was introduced to me about 39, 40 years ago. And I have to say that it's very simple. And it's interesting that you can bring all these things into it, just aligning it with the intention of self-balancing. And I would say that because of the simplicity and the availability of it, you can do it anywhere, at any time. You can even do it internally. So you could be standing in a crowd of people at a bus stop or a train station, but working internally to keep yourself in that balanced state. So the application is possible anywhere. And I think I'd have to say that it is truly one of the greatest things that has happened to me, learning Do-In, to know it, and to be able to apply it in my own life. And of course I've taught it in hundreds of classes, but what it comes back to is that it's really been something very important for me to get that energy boost, to get that energy shift. Sometimes it's working just a little bit, sometimes it's really working phenomenal, so you don't know, but almost always it makes a shift that's really useful, that's really helping you go on your way with what you're trying to do. So I'm going to do some warm-up Do-In, very simple. But again, even though it's simple and even though I've learned all the advanced practices over time, I still go back often to the simple way of doing it. So I'm going to do a simple preparation and then focus on Do-In for the Hara. And the reason I'm going to get into Do-In for the Hara is because my wife and I have been talking a lot over the last years about how important Hara work is. And as Shiatsu practitioners, both of us recognize the value of Hara treatment in our work and how you can move the process, the progress of the client along so much more quickly when you do effective Hara work. And we also found that it's important to understand the difference between Hara diagnosis, where you're using the Hara, which is, the Hara reflects everything, so you can use it to find out what's going on in other places, in the life, in the emotions, in the meridians, so you can use the Hara for that. But also really important is to be able to diagnose the condition of the actual Hara. So Hara diagnosis, obtain information about other things. Diagnosis of the Hara is, well, what's the condition of the Hara right now? And then how can we improve that? So as Shiatsu practitioners, that's been really important to us. But then what's really important, and I found this over time, is keeping and maintaining the balance and strength of my own Hara. And so one of the ways I do that almost on a daily basis, and I have several different ways of doing it, is to do Do-In for myself in the Hara. So Hara Do-In. Anyway, we're going to start with something simple to just prep the whole body, and then we're going to get into the Hara. So the way to do this is just to sit comfortably. You don't have to try to sit up straight. Any way that you can sit comfortably. Take a deep breath in, and to bring the body into a relaxed, strong state, let the air flow in over the back of the nose, and then flow back out over the back of the nose. Breathe Breathe in. When you're breathing in and out over the back of the nose, you're stimulating the olfactory nerve, and that is a parasympathetic nerve. So it helps to trigger the relaxation response, the regeneration responses, healing responses. Okay, so after a few breaths and getting closer in contact with the sensations of our body, let's just notice, how does your body feel? Just describe the current state. It could be very good, maybe you feel stiff, maybe you feel crooked, bent to one side, forward, backward. Notice how it feels to sit on the floor, the surface. You could be sitting in a chair as well. And also notice the space around the body. So the immediate space, which would be our energy or bioplasmic body. Part of our energy field that's working like a membrane, a semi-permeable membrane. But also when we start to notice the space around us, or the bioplasmic field, it also starts to give us information about what's happening in our environment, multiple layers of our environment. And then we have more possibility to notice what might be needing to balance or align in those spheres of our life. Okay, so we notice how we feel, the pros and the cons, good, the bad, and let's start out by making the hands warm. When you feel warmth in the hands, that means our chi is circulating to the hands. Now we're going to do a very quick full body. This is going to be fast, and in other times we might want to be more detailed with the body, but I'm going to do it really quickly so that we can get right into the Hara. So we're going to do a quick tapping on the head. Very traditional technique in Do-In. You can also use your fingertips. Hands. Again, this is the abbreviated version. Down the back of the neck. Shoulder, arm, shoulder, arm, wrists. Okay, and then breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Now we're going to loose fist, breathe in. And we're going to do the kidneys. Nice, light, brisk tapping on the kidneys. And then we can put our hands together, tapping on the sacrum. Okay. Now we're going to do the legs. Each one of these areas, you could be much more detailed, take several minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. The ankle. Pull the toes back and just give some attention to the bottom of the foot. The other side. And this is also a good abbreviated version if you only have a few minutes. Because what I found, and I really know this from experience, that even if you have 2 minutes, you're going to go somewhere or you need to do something, and you don't quite have the key that you want. Just a quick Do-In really can give you the boost over the top, and that includes when clients are coming, and you really have to get your energy up to meet the challenge of working with clients. Anyway, rotate the ankle, full toe back and pounding. And that's the general whole body. And before we get to the Hara then, I want to sit quiet, take 1 or 2 of the deep breaths through the back of the nose. And I want you to notice again, how does the body feel? Is there any change in the sensation of your body compared to before we started? You might notice different sensations. You may notice lightness, tingling, warmth, and easier to breathe. You may also notice change of mood, peaceful or relaxed. And just one last thing, how does it feel to sit? I think that's always a really valuable indicator, because when it feels easy to sit, it shows that we're more in balance or alignment with gravity. The more we are in the proper balance with gravity, the lighter and more easier it is to be in our body. Okay, so I hope you noticed something really interesting from that, and let's go to the Hara part. All right, here we go. We all know where the Hara is. Something often talked about, but unfortunately I find, especially in the last years of traveling around teaching classes, it has not been really used as much as it should be, particularly in self-development. This was the most important thing when I started Shiatsu, was the awareness of the Hara, the development of the Hara for personal development, personal spiritual development. And that was the emphasis for a practitioner, for a developing healing arts practitioner. It was really stressed by all of those teachers back then. Shizuko, Michio Kushi, Bowen Lee, the people that were teaching back in the 60s and the 70s. Anyway, we're going to take our hands like this under the rib cage. And we'll take a deep breath. And as you breathe out, you come forward and let the fingers go in, and then massage. So you have the liver on the right, the stomach, and part of the liver on the left. Breathe in, come up, and then move to the midpoint on this upper rib cage, on this lower rib cage. And breathe out. Again, the fingers go in as deep as they can. You come forward as far as you can, and then a massaging motion. Breathe in under the corner of the rib cage, the lateral outside part, and down the spleen and the liver. The flexures and the colon. Breathe in. And now we're going to go inside the hip bone, the ASIS. Breathe out. There you have ascending on the right, descending colon on the left. You get all the way forward. Good, vigorous and penetrating massage. Breathe in. Down over top of the pubic bone. You have the colon going down there. You also have the bladder. And breathe out. Massaging. And breathe in. And now we're going to go inside the solar plexus, again with this hand configuration. And breathe in, and breathe out. And massaging the area of the solar plexus, the aorta is coming down through that area. The diaphragm, very important, loosen up. help to create blood flow, energy flow there. Breathe in next to the navel and breathe out. Massaging small intestine. Breathe in right over top of the pubic bone, right hand over top, and breathe out. Okay, and let's do the whole thing again, starting under the rib cage, medial, breathe out. Don't forget to massage, breathe in, breathe out. The area of the gallbladder on the right, and liver, stomach, diaphragm, breathe in, breathe out. Inside the hip bones, breathe in and breathe out. So I'm using my fingers when they go in, both like this sometimes, like transverse, or sometimes circular, sometimes just going in and out. Whatever it takes in that moment, and you're going to notice sometimes painful area, stiff area, uncomfortable area. Those are actually the places that need to have attention. And sometimes while this is going on, you may get a little bit nauseous because the digestive tract starts to dump a little bit impurities and toxins, but that's a good thing in the long run. Anyway, so the lower part of the abdomen here, in over top of the pubic bone, and then the solar plexus. And there's another thing that you can do in all of these, that when you go in and you come down with your body and go in with your hands, you can then not only massage with your hands, but you can also hold the pressure and move the body circular up and down, and that creates a different kind of effect and sometimes a deeper penetration. Breathe in next to the navel. Over top of the pubic bone. All right, now you could do that a third and fourth time for sure. I do this Do-In with my Hara almost every day, and I think it's very important, certainly for me, to keep my energy level, my clarity for what I'm doing where I like it to be. So before we just wrap up, let's do the sitting in 1 or 2 deep breaths in through the back of the nose. Notice how the body feels, and particularly bring your attention. Travel down with your attention into the Hara. How does that feel now? And you can feel your body wrapped around the Hara. You can feel that it's the core. So the Do-In, when it gets more circulation of blood, frees up the digestive tract, the chi is circulating, then you can really connect to the Hara as the core, as the center of the system. So I think for your personal practice, even if you have 1 or 2 minutes in the morning, in the afternoon, in between clients, do the Hara Do-In work. And I think you're going to find that to be really sometimes a really profound change, sometimes just gives you that little bit of an edge to move forward with what you're doing. The importance of Hara I've talked about now in this Do-In class, and we're going to post more material on our teaching site soon about how to work with traditional Hara techniques with clients. I think you're going to find that really interesting, and certainly I think it's something that's essential to get great results with our clients.